Hi, my name's Carrie, and let's talk a little bit about posture. So, isn't it funny? As soon as you hear that word posture, you sit up a little bit taller, a little bit straighter. And one of the challenges is that we're experiencing, we're all like on our computers, we're on our devices, so much more so. And so, I'm hearing so many people talk about low back pain and tech neck. So, let's talk about what we can do about that. So we're going to get started. I'm going to show you some simple stretches that you can do. You can use a chair or you can do these standing, but I want you to just notice, right? So if you're seated, are you at a desk? Are you kind of slumped in, right? Are you sort of in this space or on your device here? Or are you someone who tends to sit with one leg up? So all of these things can really contribute to some of that low back pain and that neck strain. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is just notice how your feet are positioned underneath you. Could you sit with your feet right underneath your knees and then bring one hand to your low belly and one hand to the low back and find a little bit of engagement of the belly muscles pulling in. That's going to keep that low back supported. So we talk a lot about the core, right? Your core is more than just having your belly pull in. You're strengthening those low back muscles as well. Then we want to find some good stretch with that. So while you have that engagement here, you're going to stretch the spine. So our spine is the seed of all of our health. It helps our circulatory system. It helps our digestion. We strengthen our muscles. We strengthen our bones. All of these things right in our spine. It also helps us flush out some of the toxins and the energy that can get stuck in our body. So there are two simple stretches that I want to show you today. One is a cat-cow roll. And I could do this seated, right? Starting in my nice tall seat and just have my hands positioned on my knees. And the first thing would be dropping into a cow belly spine. So the cow belly is the belly comes forward, the chest moves forward, and then the shoulder blades start to pull together on the back. So my shoulder heads are pulling back behind me, and my chin is lifting slightly, but not drawing all the way up, right? So it's this opening through the front of the body. Now I'm still really actively pushing down through my feet. And then you find an angry cat pose. So pull the belly in and start doming the upper back. Your chin tucks all the way down to the chest. If you're doing this seated, the hands could come right over top the knees to really help you pull in. And then you could just flow with this with your breath, which could feel really great. So you just, on your inhale, open the front of the body. And on your exhale, dome in and open the back of the body. And just take maybe 5 to 7 rounds of this really fluid movement. The entirety of your spine from the very base all the way up through the mid back to the upper back, through the neck gets involved in this. You lead with the low back and then finish it off with the neck. So you certainly can do those seated. You can also do those standing. Standing is a super easy. You're just going to make sure that you bend the knees. Again, my feet are about hip distance apart. There's some softness in the knees, some engagement of those lower abdominal muscles. You could drop the hands down either to the thighs or even a little bit further down. And then same kind of activation here, that the tailbone tilts up, the shoulder head squeeze behind you, and then dome in, round into the back. And you find this fluid motion right here. Cat and cow rolls. My suggestion is, could you just commit to maybe every hour or so, just pushing your chair back from your computer, taking a few of these cat and cow rolls. All right. That gets you ready for a little bit of a deeper stretch to really come into that low back area. For this one, we're going to find a forward fold. Again, starting with the feet positioned underneath the knees, or if the low back's really tight, feel free to take your knees a little bit wider, right? This is going to help us to just drape over the thighs and start to stretch the low back a little bit more. Hands on the thighs can be very supportive here. As you start to lay your belly and your chest on your thighs, keep active in the legs here. The chin does start to come down towards the chest,
But the focus is really on doming and rounding in this little section just above the seat to the low back. From here, the arms could drape down by the sides. Maybe they touch the earth, maybe not. Maybe they're still on the low legs. This could feel really lovely. You could hold this as a static posture, or you could walk your hands over to one side so that your hands frame out your feet one at a time. And then you find a little bit more stretch into that low back area. And take a few breaths on one side, come over to the opposite side. Again, finding that forward fold. So that's a version for you to find from a seated position. And now let's talk about a standing forward fold. So when we talk about standing forward folds, a lot of times people say, I can't do yoga because I can't touch my toes. It's not about touching your toes. What it is about is softening the knees, hands come down to the thighs, and again, you start draping over. So what I want you to be mindful of, just check yourself. Are your legs straight, even hyperextended, and are you just hanging loosely in space here? Oh golly, let's not do that. That's going to create more strain on the low back. So just soften the knees, right? It doesn't matter how deep you come into this. It's more about when is the point that you feel some stretch and some lengthening right in that place that's just above the seat to the middle of the back. That's what we're really working to find some expansiveness with. Hands on the thighs can be more supportive. And then if there's room to go a little bit deeper, you're welcome to walk your hands down your legs. Again, it may feel nice to just take a little sway side to side here. So while these exercises are really focused on moving the spine front to back, just a little bit of that side to side so that the area where the hip connects with the back, that gets some room to breathe as well. And then be mindful of how you come out of this. So you took some time coming in, you want to take some time coming out. Walk your hands up your legs, bend the knees even more. Use the strength of your legs to help you curl all the way up. When you arrive at the top, give the tush a little squeeze and then arrive. So I hope that helps you feel a little bit stronger, a little bit taller, a little bit longer in the spine so that your posture can be supportive to you to help you breathe. I'm Carrie with Yoga Home. This is just one of our tips to help you find a little bit of a healthier way of being. Thanks for joining.